We already know how this goes. I say my feet don't normally look like this because, it's low-key embarrassing, but really, life gets in the way. I just get off a schedule. It happens. So if you're in the same boat, I got you covered. If you don't have a salon you can go to, or if you just don't want to, you can do this at home. But for those of you who know, I have my favorites. It's like my arsenal. It is my holy grails, the things that I will reach for in every single pedicure video without fail. But today, I got something new for you because I recently stumbled across this. Glass files definitely have a fan base, but I had never seen one for foot care. Of course, as usual, everything that I am using is going to be linked on the blog. And how this works is apparently it's nano etched. There are a bunch of like 3D particles on the surface. So these little dots that you see are raised. And not only that, you do get two sides, so you have one that's more coarse and one that's more fine. If you saw my initial summer routine pedicure, which I think is 2 years old now, oh my god, then you know that I recommend once you use something coarse that you use something finer to follow it up, because basically the coarse grit can leave behind a lot of scratches and uneven surface. So I'm actually using step 2 first to show you exactly what I mean. So you can see that it's not really doing a whole lot. It's kind of just grazing over the surface, but it's not removing the depth of the callus because I have a lot. But it is doing something. What I would normally use for step 1 is my go-to number 20 foot file. And as you can see, this takes off a lot more skin at once, which actually has a lot to do with not just the material, but again, the grit. So on the glass one, you probably didn't even notice that there was dots on one side because step 2 is so tightly packed together that you can't even see them at all. It just looks like the glass is frosted, but you can feel them and they do feel quite smooth. On my number 20 file, however, there are very distinct areas where the material is raised, allowing me to go from this to this very quickly. The glass file, step 1, feels more coarse, but it's really just because the particles are spaced much further apart. However, I wouldn't say that they're any more raised. It definitely feels more coarse. It's just I'm not sure if they have any significant height difference. And if you're curious what would be my equivalent to step 1 and step 2 in my regular pedicure routine, I would use my number 21 foot file. It's going to take off some additional skin, but really just smooth things out. So that was it dry, which is how they market for you to use both of these instruments, by the way. But as I always say, soaking your feet definitely speeds up the process and allows keratinized skin to come off easier. So naturally, I wanted to see if it would possibly make a difference. Only this time, I'm out of Epsom salt, so I decided to make this a bubble bath. Thus cue my matcha bubble bar. I'm not gonna use them on wet skin, just slightly damp. But first, I'm gonna take off my polish. And because I was wearing 5 coats of this nail polish, base coat, 3 coats of color, because it was so sheer, and then a very generous helping of top coat, it can still cause a lot of rubbing action, which is fine, but if you do want to save time, another thing that I like to do instead is to actually pull apart my cotton and then make little cotton balls or pancakes that I will then again soak with my nail polish remover. Place it on my nails and let that sit for just a couple of seconds, basically as long as it takes for me to do all 10 toes, and then I'll go right back to the first one and I can remove it in just one swipe. So I soaked my feet for maybe 10 minutes and then I towel dried them and gave them a few, minutes for the water to dissipate a little bit, because again, I'm just using it on slightly damp feet. The glass file definitely works. It just takes a little bit longer, in particular if you have as much callus as I do. This is buildup from neglect. And still, I had a considerable amount here, and like, it's getting the job done. As a reminder, this is what it looked like before. But you know what? I like this. I really do, especially since it's really easy to clean, by the way. I know you guys have asked me before about how I sanitize my tools, so if that's something you still want to see, let me know. But for my stainless steel file, I have to like, bust out a brush. With this though, it takes like no time at all. So thumbs up. Now, just like my foot files, I also have stainless steel files for my nails as well. Yes, they are an initial investment, but for me, it's worth it because I literally don't have to replace it like ever again. I like that it's more sustainable. So like if you're a nail tech, then these are easily sanitizable and you don't have to buy an entire pack, because if you guys don't know, those files are not supposed to be reused ever. It should be one per customer. Like they might as well just hand it to you after your service so that you could just keep it. Now you know. Wait, did I tell you about how I almost worked in the salon one time? This is when I was in my nail phase, when all I posted about was nails. But while I was thinking that over, I realized there wasn't a .com for the business. And I wondered, how are my clients going to make appointments? Answering texts, DMs, all that, it becomes a lot. Any way that a person can facilitate their own schedule on their own time is optimal, right? So did y'all know that Squarespace has Squarespace scheduling? Because I didn't either. And that goes for anything. So if you have like a restaurant, you can even put an open table block for people to make reservations. The features just don't seem to stop at this point. So for whatever it is that you do professionally and or as a hobby, you should definitely have at least a landing page, because you never know. So I know y'all sick of me talking about it, but that's because you haven't started your website yet. So go to squarespace.com/abetweene, and remember, with my code, you get 10% off. So you might as well try it today. And y'all know I love really manicured toes. So if you are afraid of using other instruments, you can go for a cuticle stone like this one, which will not just exfoliate the cuticle, but also the dead skin around your nails. You can get the sides really well. But as you can see close up, there's just more than I need here because I want a clean look. So I want my polish application to be immaculate. So I must go in with my cuticle nippers, and I like a 1/4 inch jaw so that I can get really detailed. I finish up with a sponge file because I don't know if you guys can see there, but it looks like my nail is kind of ragged. It's not. It's actually the hyponychium, which is underneath of your free edge that you never want to trim or cut. So leave it alone. I'm just going to moisturize it later, but I will take the other end of my spatula and use that to clean under the free edge, because listen, if you have foot odor and you do not know where it's coming from, like you're up on your hygiene and you feel like it's still there, it's this. It's the toe jam. Now that my toes are looking good, I now need to address the rest of the skin on my feet, because after submerging in water and all the soap, it is definitely dehydrated. So I'll first use a scrub to make sure that I am actually taking off any dead skin, but then we have to also lock in moisture. So after I rinse that off, of course, I have to do my oil bath with my little silicone socks. You can put on any oil or body butter of your choice. Then I keep these on for as long as I can. In fact, sometimes my pedicures take me a couple of days because I just stop here and then I will paint them the following day. And remember, your foundation is important, so you should always be wearing a base coat, because colored polishes are not designed to go straight onto your natural nail. They're not formulated for that. And this one I like because it is a bit of like a milky color. I know it looks mostly clear, but it does actually camouflage a bit of your natural color just slightly, so that anything you put on top is enhanced a little bit. And the formula is like slightly ridge filling. Obviously it's nothing compared to gel, but it does do a little something. So if it's something you're kind of self-conscious of, it couldn't hurt. And despite me posting several colors on my Instagram, I think ultimately we all agreed on like a nudie color. And while I wait for my color coat to dry, I'm gonna go ahead and address this hair. So I'm gonna use my homemade sugar wax. we're going to apply a generous helping of top coat, which if you have a milky color like this that tends to go streaky, can do a lot to make it look more uniform. Then finally, don't you dare forget that cuticle oil. And if you are kind of afraid of messing up your polish if it's not quite dry, what you can do is apply it under that free edge, which is again going to moisturize the hyponychium, but also it's going to fall back and flood the cuticle completely around your nail as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe.